This Pennywise Recaps, and today we're reviewing the crime thriller Wolves. Get ready for incredible plot twists. The movie begins in a hotel room on the top floor of an elite skyscraper. It is there that a woman named Margaret is trying to cover up the traces of an unpleasant incident with the corpse of a man she doesn't know, who appeared under mysterious circumstances. She calls an unknown number, but the caller does not answer. A moment later, the phone rings, and someone asks her how she got the number. Margaret explains that a friend of hers gave her the number, telling her not to mention names, because sometimes delicate situations occur that only this person can resolve. The voice on the other end advises her to lock herself in, not to open the door to anyone, not to touch anything, and to wait for his arrival. A man named Nick arrives at the place with a bag with everything he needs. When he goes up to the room, he listens to an excited Margaret, who tells him that she met a naive guy in a bar. During their fun on the bed, he fell on a glass table and died. Trying to get rid of the body without consequences becomes difficult when there is a knock at the door, and then another man, Jack, walks in. As the two professionals look at each other with suspicion, the phone rings. It's Pam, the hotel owner. She assures them that she doesn't want any trouble with the dead callboy that District Attorney Margaret has invited, so she called her man to fix the situation. Through a hidden camera, she watches what happens and insists that the two of them work together, despite the fact that they are used to acting independently. Confronted with the fact, the men begin to work. Nick asks Margaret about the events leading up to the incident. The woman explains how the boy jumped on the bed, fell, and died. The professionals discuss how to dispose of the body and protect the client from accusations. Nick begins to pack the body, and Jack, having a different approach to the case, watches his actions, not rushing to help. The situation becomes complicated when it turns out that the deceased had a bag with illegal substances. The owners of this bag will certainly be interested in what happened to the courier. Pam insists that the body disappear and the banned substances be returned to their owners. Despite the disagreement, Nick puts the body on a luggage cart, while Jack disables the CCTV cameras. After that, Nick goes down to the underground parking lot to load the body into the trunk of the car. At the same time, Jack continues to monitor the situation, occasionally intervening. During transportation, the corpse suddenly comes to life. This complicates the situation even more, because now the two men are dealing not only with illegal substances and the prosecutor, but also with the resurrected boy. At this point, the guard returns to check on the system's malfunctions, and Jack is forced to act quickly, knocking the guy out. In the car, Nick and Jack argue about who made more mistakes. Nick suggests that the illegal substances may have slowed the guy's heart rate, which is why they mistakenly thought he was dead. Now they face a new problem. What to do with the living corpse, the illegal substances, and Margaret? Not having a better plan, they decide to go to a doctor they know. Jack takes Nick to the doctor in Chinatown. When they arrive on the street, they open the trunk so that the doctor can examine the guy who is now their main headache. The woman orders the men to drag the body into the kitchen and continues the examination to the accompaniment of a verbal altercation between the forced partners. To prevent them from interfering with the boy's recovery, June throws them out into the banquet hall. Nick and Jack drink whiskey, discussing how June saved their lives. The conversation is interrupted by the scream of a patient who has regained consciousness and escaped. The doctor sends the confused men to catch up with him. Getting in the car, Nick drives back through the narrow alleys, chasing the guy who is running away in his underwear. He bursts into a shopping center, smashing a window with a brick. Jack rushes after him, and Nick drives up to the exit on the other side of the building. As he runs away, the guy suddenly jumps in front of the car, and Nick doesn't have time to slow down. He jumps, but the car still hits him, flipping him over in midair. After a forced flip, he lands on his feet and runs away again. Jack chases after him, although it is difficult for him because of his age and shortness of breath. The chase moves to a construction site and then to a bridge overpass. There, the guy jumps onto a ladder, breaking away from Jack. Nick notices the boy, turns around, and arrives in time to catch him. Together with Jack, they put him in the car and return to June. She refuses to see the patient a second time and instead gives him pills to make him feel better. After that, the men argued about where to take the boy. They give him some spare clothes and head to a cheap motel. After renting a room at the motel, they begin to question the boy about the illegal substances, but he denies everything. Then the men resort to intimidation, and the boy admits that he was transporting the product for one of the largest drug dealers in the city. Taking a sip of water to regain his composure, he starts talking from afar, which annoys Nick. After another threat, the guy slurredly explains that he decided to help a fellow student whose mother died. Feeling cool, he went to a bar where he met Margaret. In the hotel room, he decided to try the product, but it made him faint. In order to get the delivery address, return the illegal substances, and close the matter, Nick and Jack need to find the pager left by the bartender. They go to the bar with the guy, but at the entrance, they notice a man they worked for at different times. Dimitri is celebrating his daughter's wedding. The professionals don't want to catch his eye, because if he suspects that they have blabbed about working together, he will eliminate them by any means necessary. They can't split up either, because they don't trust each other. Two men and a boy sneak into the club through the roof. They try not to catch the eye of their former boss, while the guy goes across the dance floor to the bar to get his pager. The bartender isn't there, and the other bartender doesn't understand what they want him to do. The guy is forced to climb over the bar to get the device, but is caught by security and thrown out of the club. Nick and Jack follow him, but find themselves in a crowd of men organizing a dance. They are forced to participate in the national dance, unable to get out unnoticed. In the process, Dimitri notices them and gives an order to the guards. Realizing that they have to act, Nick and Jack pull out their guns and point them at each other, creating the appearance of a conflict. It works. Dimitri calms the guests down and sits the professionals at the table. They continue to pretend that they don't know each other and even have a demonstration fight. The security guards break them up, after which Jack leaves and Nick refuses to have a drink, citing his work. Leaving the club, Nick notices the guard looking at the confiscated guns and realizes that the men are actually partners. Outside, Jack quietly points out to Nick where the guy with the pager is. The guy with the broken nose is waiting by the car, not running away, even though he had the chance. The address hasn't been sent to the pager yet, so the delivery hasn't failed yet. Reunited, the trio heads to a diner to get the guy something to eat. When he goes to the restroom, Nick suggests that the story about his fellow student and his dead mother is made up. He thinks the delivery is a trap. If the guy is eliminated during the delivery, his partners won't have to get their hands dirty. The conversation is interrupted by a pager signal. The address has arrived. However, to read it, experienced professionals have to put on glasses because their eyesight is not what it used to be. Their next step is to go to the snowy industrial zone. Realizing what consequences this could have for the guy, his partners let him go to finish what he started. They watch him from the car. At the last moment, Nick changes his mind and decides to help. But before he can open the door, black cars filled with armed men pull up to the entrance. The armed criminals break into the building, and meanwhile, they open fire on Nick's car. It turns out that these are Dimitri's men. Nick ducks down and pulls back, but the car stops due to the damage. Opening the trunk, the partners run out, hiding behind the car door. In the trunk, Nick pulls out a hidden weapon. He passes the rifle to Jack, who makes several aimed shots and then reloads. The men stand up to their full height and with accurate shots create a real end for the bandits. After the shootout, the partners head for the door of the room, from where the mortally wounded criminals run out one by one. Inside, they find a car repair shop full of limousines and corpses. Cautiously making their way through, the men notice a courier hiding in the trunk. When asked what to do next, the partners look at each other. Their idea is to eliminate the guy and cover their tracks, leaving the illegal substances at a local merchant. Nick approaches the guy, holding his gun at the ready. But instead of carrying out his plan, he puts the gun down and turns to Jack. He suddenly shoots, not at his partner or the courier, but at one of the packages of illegal substances. Inside the package is a red beacon that signals an alarm. The punctured package adds realism to the situation. They leave the scene. The boy asks for a ride, but because their car is shot up, all three are forced to take the subway. In the car, while the young man is sleeping, Jack notices blood on Nick's sweater. He checks and grabs his side. The frightened partner thinks that his older friend is injured, but Nick shows him an obscene gesture to show that everything is fine. They accompany the boy home and then talk to his father in the kitchen. They tell him that his son doesn't know everything, so it's better to keep quiet about it. Then they leave the house at dawn and go to a diner to have breakfast. Sitting at the table, the professionals discuss the night's events and come to the conclusion that they work for the same person. Their employer wanted to make them guilty of the shooting, but because the guy accidentally survived, everything went wrong. This means that they will be coming for their souls soon. Nick and Jack look around. The cafe is suddenly empty. Armed men are waiting outside. The partners lie down on chairs, reload their guns, and promise to tell each other their real names if they survive. After loading their guns, they stand up for a count and open fire. This is where the movie ends, leaving you wondering if they will become sworn friends or just share the same grave. Thank you for being with us. Subscribe to the channel, like us, and be sure to click on the bell to stay up to date with our new videos.